pressure, negativity, all those things. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard.
It's incredible and outstanding what this group of players is doing with all the noise about, and these players deserve all the credit because they are the ones who are performing.
If you don't win as much as you'd like, there's always noise, there's always pressure, there's always criticism, and that's fair. That's the world we're in.
32 games, 18 wins, 10 draws and 4 losses, so losing 4 of 32 in 9 months, that's incredible.
There's no point, as I said, shying away from it. At the moment we're being punished and we're a little bit vulnerable from it, but that gives us an opportunity to grow and get better, and that's what we'll choose to do.
It's a very good side, great manager with huge respect. We prepared very well in these 3 days, as good as we can. We are in a good shape, so then it will be a great Premier League game.
Hello everybody. Next up, the fixture computer throws up the second of 2 home fixtures in a row as we play host to Crystal Palace from Croydon. Kick-off's at 3 p.m, but if you fancy a stroll prior to the game, the good people of Hammers United are inviting you to join them at Marshgate Lane from about 12:45 onwards. Maybe you'd like to take the opportunity to show your gratitude to the directors over what a great job they're doing as they pass by in their wonderful limousines to their marvellous stadium. Watch them turn up at 11 a.m. now to avoid it all. So, Palace then. Last season they finally won something, which means that in 50 years' time they'll be saying, "We won the cup once," as an alternative to the "we got 50,000 at home game once," which has been their only claim to fame for about 120 years. For the benefit of a lot of their rather ludicrous supporters, most of whom have been too busy playing about with their ridiculous banners to actually take any heed of what's actually going on the pitch, they've become treble chance specialists this season. They started the season with a 0-0 draw over at Chelsea, which was followed up with a 1-1 draw at home with Nottingham Forest, who were their latest object of a plastic-invented rivalry. They then beat yet to score in the league Aston Villa 3-0 up in Brum and returned to their drawing ways last weekend with a 0-0 draw against Sunderland, all of which has left them in 9th place with 6 points from 4 games. Daisy tells me that their summer transfer window was unspectacular, with the major focus on being whether or not Liverpool's dubious approach to sign Gay would pay off in the same way as the tactic had worked with Newcastle's Isak. Happily for Palace, Gay didn't elect to go on strike and played a straight bat and stayed put, for the time being. First coming through the indoor was Walter Benitez. The one-cap Argentinian international has been on the bench so far in the league, but has played in goal in the 1-1 draw with Millwall, saving some of the worst and weakest penalties ever seen from a professional team in the process. They brought in Croatian left-back Borna Sosa from Ajax. Well, I say Ajax. After one season in Amsterdam, he was shifted out on loan to Torino, where he spent last season. After 20 appearances in Italy, he failed to make that much of an impression, and the option to buy was not exercised. Ajax elected to cut their losses, accepting a massive £3 million for the 27-year-old, who's been capped at full level on 26 occasions. They seem to have a taste for goalkeepers this summer, bringing in another free transfer in the form of Harry Lee, who came all the way up the A303 from Exeter on the expiry of his contract with the Grecians. Aged 20, he's at the other end of his career to the 32-year-old Benitez, and he's been filed in the One for the Future cabinet. They spent a little bit more on Villarreal midfielder Jeremy Pino, who fetched £26 million in coming across from the Iberian Peninsula. The 21 times capped Spanish international was part of the Spanish side that lost to Portugal on penalties in the UEFA Pointless Nations League thing this summer, though he missed out on the last Euros thanks to an anterior cruciate ligament injury. Another £17 million was expended on defender J.D. Canvot, whose name looks like an anagram for something or other, but probably isn't. His sole appearance this season since his arrival from Toulouse was in the League Cup. Still a kid at 19, he's been capped by his native France at every level up to under 21 level. The final arrival was Nigerian midfielder or striker Christantus Uche. He's on a season-long loan from Getafe, though the deal does contain an obligation to purchase at the end of that spell for a reported fee of £17 million. He's yet to score for Nigeria, save for the winning penalty in some tournament or other that wasn't the African Cup suit. Enough of them, let's move on briefly to the wild and wacky world of association football. And whenever one needs a laugh, one can always rely on Sheffield United, who've re-recruited Chris Wilder, who they sacked in June to take over the club, who've played and lost 5 times this season. Apparently, his last sacking came from a disagreement with the club's owners over plans to use artificial intelligence in the club's transfer dealings. Wilder left on the grounds that Sheffield had never shown any signs of intelligent life as a city in the past, and he was damned if it was going to happen on his watch. Meanwhile, with relegation a distinct possibility even at this early stage of the season, the club's legal team are sounding out bent journalists and gullible ex-High Court judges to tap up in the vague hope that there may be some money to be made out of the drop. OK, reluctantly, let's move on to us, and oh dear. Well, we were in the game until the sending off, but the second that Gillett produced that red card, that was it. Gillett could not have got that card out quicker, giving himself absolutely zero time to think, and such is the inbuilt predisposition of VAR to back up PGMOL members irrespective of the circumstances, the chances of it being overturned were pretty much nil. A look at a number of other matches over the weekend proved that matches can hinge less on the merits of teams involved and more on which official you end up with, and I saw 3, maybe 4 challenges on the box over the course of the weekend, which not only involved a hell of a lot more contact than the glassing blow delivered by Souček, but were also clearly premeditated, unlike the luckless Czech's effort, which came as the result of a stretch, the ball having bounced a little bit further than anticipated after a slight miscontrol. One look at the Burnley v Liverpool game should tell anyone exactly why referees are so ridiculed throughout the west of the world. Where red cards were due, Liverpool were allowed such leniency that one had in mind those friendly matches that get a bit naughty, and where the ref invites a manager to substitute a player, yes you Kirkers, on his 4th yellow card offence on the half hour. Of course, none of that excuses the fact that we couldn't defend corners against a team whose sole tactic seems to be based on winning them in the first place. It was a dismal performance, particularly in the second half, and one wonders what the explanation would have been had the club held their meeting with fans after that match instead of the week before. As it was, the board issued a communiqué which was an object lesson in using as many words as possible to say as little as possible, whilst trying to give the appearance of saying as much as possible. Readers of this very column will know exactly what that looks like, and as something of an expert in the area, I can spot these things a mile off. My particular favourite was the deflection of criticism on the training facilities at Rush Green. You see, it's not the facilities that make for a good training centre, it's the people. Rush Green is not substandard, apparently, no, it's unique. Yeah, right. The whole sorry mess, which somebody actually got paid to write, don't forget, can probably be summed up as saying, yeah, we know things are bad, but hey, what are you going to do? On the pitch last weekend, the selection baffled me. I get it that Wilson's in his 30s and 90 minutes is probably beyond him these days, but come on, he was on fire in the previous match, and hell, it was only Tottenham. Surely he'd start a striker against them for Pete's sake. Still, the attack of good taste at the ground meant that the away supporting Muppets weren't able to celebrate their cup final win with a half-and-half scarf, which is as big a tradition as having dandruff amongst their supporters. For this weekend, the official listings show 3 on the absent list, although that's slightly confusing. Souček is obviously suspended for not playing for Liverpool. Wan-Bissaka, we are now told, has an abdominal injury which will keep him out of contention for at least another week. And for some reason, and this is the confusing bit, Guillaume is still listed as injured, even though he played for half an hour last week. That may be a misprint. So at the prediction. Oh, I'm damned if I know. We're so Jekyll and Hyde at the moment, even during the same game. It's impossible to say what's going to happen. So with that in mind, I'm just going to go with the visitors' pools coupon banker status and stick my money on a draw. So the £2.50 I was going to chip in to buy the club the services of a copywriter capable of churning out something not quite as insulting to the intelligence as that last missive, will instead be going on a Winston's wager slip bearing the details of a 1-1 draw. Enjoy the game.